Hey folks, Troy Dooley, the Beachside CEO. It has been a wonderful day. I tell you, every time I go out, no matter where I go, it's just fun to see smiles on people's faces. And right now I'm kind of going up the back road, what we call the scenic 98, right along the beach. And it's awesome. If you guys heard my rant earlier today, I shared that last night we had 500 and plus acres go up in flames. People lost their homes, their businesses, but so many are so blessed. I don't think anybody lost their lives, but everybody was able to get out. They were able to evacuate. They opened up the high school down here. Everybody got to go in there. For you guys that are wondering, oh my gosh, did they do any testing or anything, social distancing? They actually tested everybody with a rapid test prior to them going in. So they literally put them in the parking lot, they tested everyone, and then they were able to go into the high school. And it was very traumatic, still is today, but lots of, luckily, I say, man, it's just a blessing sometimes when you look at stuff. And that's where I want to go with today. Why is it that we look at the negative, the critical over the positive or the joyful? And you know, last night was just horrific for people. I mean, if you have never seen a fire coming at you, if you wondered what are the last things I should get out of my house, what can I get out, folks that live out west, California, Colorado, Utah, Arizona, they all know what this is like. Down here on an island, we don't have just rampant fires last night. But as people were going through that, as people's homes were wiped out, a positive side to this is the fact that because tourism is at a standstill, we have plenty of rooms. Even with Mother's Day coming up, there were plenty of rooms in the hotels. The hotels have now opened up to let people stay there for them to be able to figure out what is our next move. And you guys got to understand, I mean, I don't know how all the rest of the country is. I know that with all my travels, I just see great people that come together for their communities. They don't they don't hang into the negative as much. Down here, if you go back to the end of 2018, we got hit with the largest hurricane on record. So it wiped out all of Panama City. So people had to come up and find new homes. Then when that part was over, we've had the flooding, we've had the coronavirus, and now we've had this fire. And you look at it and you say, well, man, you poor people. And it's not that way. We literally are watching people come together. They see the community and the positiveness. And as I watched that, as I was finishing up my rant this afternoon, and you guys can go watch that if you want to or blow it off, it made me realize that we have come to this new, I don't know what it is, it's a mindset, I guess. Maybe it's because we have way too much news, maybe because we're in this era of life, and I think that's what we'll call this. We're in an era of history where everybody's going a million miles a minute. There's no slowdown. You literally have people that are teaching that you've got to hustle. So nobody's slowing down. You've got this 24/7 news, not just with our own country now, but worldwide. I mean, you're getting slammed 24/7 with just negative crap constantly. That I'm coming to the conclusion that the human body, the human mind was not created to have this much activity. When you think about it, up until just a few decades ago, we didn't even have cars. I mean, cars are early 1900s, so little over 100 years old. Before that, for however long the earth has been here, if you're a young earth, it's been here thousands of years. If you're an old earth believer, it's been here billions of years. We were walking or riding in a chariot or riding in something. So we were going 3 miles an hour, maybe 20 miles an hour if you had a team of horses. And now we're going a million miles a minute, literally. The internet is just slamming us. And most of the stuff that we're out there watching is negative. And I really focused in on this during the virus. Every time I would put something up that had a positive result, it could be, hey, it looks like from the universities that 98% of people will survive the coronavirus that are contracted with it. People didn't gravitate to the 98% survival rate. They gravitated to, oh my gosh, Troy, do you realize that 2% will be hundreds, maybe millions of people? Yeah, I get that, but 98% means that it would be hundreds of millions, billions of people that survive. And yet people gravitated to that. When we look at the numbers that just came out, 3 million people filed for unemployment. That's half as many as last week, which means last week it was like 6 million. This week it's like 3 million. And I started looking at that, and it's like, that's a 50% drop in it. And then as I sat there for a second, I thought, wait a minute. Those people that are on unemployment, that are getting their unemployment checks, not only are they getting their regular unemployment check, but the government's actually kicking in, I think, another $600 above that. So even though we've got this high unemployment rate, like 16 freaking percent, which means we've got, 84% of the American population still working? See where I'm going with this? Even the ones on unemployment are making some freaking really good money. And it's like, wait a minute, why are we still gravitating to the negative on this when there's no reason to, but yet we do that? And I would challenge you to kind of think through this in your own life, your own community, okay? But think a minute. Why are you doing this? Why are you gravitating to the negative? And what would happen? What would happen if you started looking at the positive side of things and where that could take you as an individual? How would that affect your health? Let's look at that just for a second. If you weren't being a dull, negative, disillusioned crybaby, and you were starting to say, man, I'm going to get out, I'm going to look at the positive, I'm going to go find somebody to help, I'm going to smile a little bit more, how would that affect your health? Now, I'm not saying that smiling is going to cure you of the coronavirus, but I'm saying that smiling is going to make you feel better. Smiling is going to give you a psychological shift, and the body's pretty powerful. The body can like heal itself pretty good. I mean, it's pretty freaking amazing. So if we started looking at the positive, if we started looking at the joyful, when you look at the Constitution, it says that we have the right to pursue happiness. Doesn't guarantee us happiness. But did you ever think about maybe the pursuit of happiness is where the real fun is? Maybe it's the pursuit of happiness that actually causes you to grow into a different person, grow into a better person, grow into a person that maybe stretches beyond. Because right now, during this time of uncertainty, we've got 84% of the American population working. We've got entrepreneurs that are taking advantage of brand new industries. I just watched an article of a young man in Vegas that realized, wait a minute, if social distancing is going to be the new norm, well then I'm going to create see-through, I don't think they're just plexiglass because they like self-clean, they've got ultraviolet rays in them, but he's got these plexiglass things that go between each of the slot machines so that the casinos don't have to get less slot machines. They just are making it safe for people. Now, I don't know what that's going to do to a craps table or a blackjack table or playing, poker, but I can tell you the majority of the casino's money is probably not there anyway. It's in the slot machine. So here's somebody that says, man, I think I can come up with a solution to this. And when you look at everything that's happened, that's what happens. We wouldn't have Box or Dropbox right now if it wasn't for the fact that somebody was able to figure out a way to do some things during a couple of other really weird times that we've had. Every major invention actually comes out during these crazy times. And it's like, okay, stop being negative. Stop sitting around watching the news. Now listen, I know you want to know some stuff, you want to know what's going on, but while you guys, and I know not all of you are negative, so don't get me wrong here, I'm being general. But while you guys have all been out here fiddle farting around about the negative side of stuff, worrying about the coronavirus, here's some things that you might have missed, and maybe you can take advantage of them. And let me disclose that I no longer have a broker's license, so I'm not going to give you individual financial advice. I do that with some of my buddies, but here's what I'm going to tell you. While everybody's been whining and crying and groping around on stuff, some of the stocks have gone on sale. So there's some automobile stocks that are on sale. There's some big energy stocks that are on sale. I'm not talking about like they're 50, 60 bucks a piece, which you think they would be. I'm literally talking about they're $4 or $5 a piece. Very reasonable for an individual that would like to take control of their finances during this time period. I can tell you that as we're coming out of this pandemic, pandemonium, whatever you want to call it, because everybody's got a theory on it. But here's something you can take advantage of. The fact that we already are starting to see a trend of people wanting to move back to the suburbs. They did get really freaky that places like New York, Chicago, Philadelphia, New Jersey, different places like that, because people are crammed into the cities so much, they're starting to look at single family housing. You can go look up at some of these stocks, both the big rental companies and the big construction build. All of their stocks are on sale. While you guys have been, oh my gosh, what's going on? There's literally people on unemployment making $600 a week more that are investing some of their money into that. Here's another little trend that we're starting to see that's picking up that you might want to tap into. People realize, man, I don't know if I want to go to one of those big resorts for a while. I don't think I want to go on that cruise. And they're starting to buy RV trailers, pop-ups, motorhomes. So the RV industry starting to pick up a little bit. The recreational vehicles, we're starting to see a little bit of an uptick in those companies that sell pontoon boats, because people are saying, look, man, I can take my family out on the boat, won't have too many people around, don't have to worry about Party Cove or the islands out here with all these people. I get to do some stuff. So when you look at, do I sit around being a dull, negative, disillusioned crybaby? Or do I say, I can't change this, but I want to be happy. I want to start looking at the positive, and you start looking at the positive. The next time you watch the news and they say, oh my gosh, right now this is terrible, but 16% of the American population is now unemployed. This is the highest number in history. Well, you can look at yourself and start laughing and say, well, heck, man, and it's also the most amount that any of these people on unemployment have made. Matter of fact, some of these people on unemployment are making more money staying home than they were at work. Plus, their employer just got money so they can put them back to work. It makes me feel good, man. I mean, that's my tax-paying dollars are going into somebody's pocket that is in the economy, that's a Main Street American that needs that money right now. That's pretty doggone cool when you think about it. Next time you hear the negative, oh my gosh, maybe 2%, maybe 5% of the world population could die of the coronavirus. Well, praise the Lord, man. That means 95% of us are probably going to make it, which means that we still have an opportunity to find a way to beat the virus. Well, I'm not into vaccines, but if it's a vaccine, it's a vaccine. I just don't know about all this stuff. So I've been shot up in both arms at school, in the military. I'm so full of all this stuff, who the heck knows? But what I'm saying is, when you start looking at a truly positive outlook in life, it's amazing. And before I let you go, I'll take one step further. The next time that you and your spouse, I just want to look at the married couples for a minute. The next time you guys start to get in a conversation, she's snipping at you, you're snipping at her, you're sitting there thinking all kinds of things. How about you do this? Instead of thinking, man, she's a beep, or he's a mother. Whoop. Instead of doing that, why don't you go back a little bit and think, man, this is why I actually fell in love with her. This is what I really love about him. Man, he's start thinking of the positive. Now, I understand there's just some really dickfers out there, and maybe you're married to one of them, or maybe you're married to this gal and she's nothing but a souse. I don't know. But the majority of people, I don't think that's the deal. I just think we get so angst because we're watching all the negative. We forget to be looking and saying, you know what? That body of hers may not be like it was when she was 17, but I helped her make that body. I'm the one that gave her those kids. And she can still do things to me that puts a little smile on my face. Or maybe you're looking and thinking, you know what? He was pretty studly then, and he still has those moves now. And I think we can work through this. See, if you look at the positive, it still may not work out. I can't guarantee you that it's going to be good. Heck, man, I've been married 33 years, and it's the hardest thing I've ever done. It's easier dealing with people that run Ponzi schemes than it is dealing with a wife. But here's what I've learned. I love her to death. She's giving me these kids. She gives me laughs. I get to listen to her as she creates these stories in her mind that become bestsellers. I wouldn't trade that. But I'm always looking for the positive solution through my failures, through my kids' failures, through our successes. I'm going to be on a podcast tomorrow, and that's really what we're talking about. Because when he heard my life story, he said, Troy, can you get on my show and literally share how your failures propelled you to the success that you've had? How the tragedies with your kids have allowed you to move past and help other people. I said, yeah, I can do that. Because I never get down into the muck, into the quicksand. And I'm not saying, man, that I don't have my hard days. There are my mastermind, my personal board of directors will tell you, man, he's got some days when he's been stretched thin. But I never stay there. And I challenge you, don't stay in the muck and the gunk and the crap. Move on up to the other side. You can do it. Guys, have a great afternoon, and I will catch you tomorrow.